All right, ladies, welcome back to the Beyond the Strategy Summit. So, I have a very special guest today with us, Jennifer Jakobsen, and she has such an interesting background in how she actually ended up in the online space and everything. So, I think you're going to love this one. So, Jennifer, can you please just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and who you help?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Jennifer Jakobsen, and I actually got called by my clients this, and I have stuck with it because it's kind of fun. But my clients call me their business therapist. And because I'm actually a therapist, I was like, oh, I kind of like this term. I think I'm gonna run with it. So, so
I
I've
love
been a psychotherapist for, well, let's just say 25 plus years, and decided to go into life coaching about 9 years ago. And the reason is I loved the forward focus of coaching versus therapy. I loved, really helping people to get where they really want to be in life rather than like going and digging up all the past stuff that's sort of out of our control that we can't really change. And then when I started my business, I realized how much of like business is kind of a like an internal game, right? Like we folk I mean this we're called but it's called but beyond the strategy today. I mean, so much of what we do in business requires us to step into this like higher future version of us, and a lot of us have a lot of stories that come up when when we're navigating, especially if we're like a coach or a service provider. Like when you're selling, when you're the product you're selling is yourself essentially. And so when you're selling yourself, that like brings up a lot of our insecurities. It can bring up, like I said, like stories that we might be telling ourselves, imposter syndrome, that sort of thing. So when I kind of realized that in my own business, I was like, oh, this kind of makes sense. Like we need to have a therapist for our business because we need to be able to sort of uncover and eliminate those blocks, which are again like just limiting thoughts, negative beliefs that are kind of running the show in our business, almost a lot of times underneath our level of awareness, right? And so it's really important to deal with that internal stuff in order to be able to make the strategy work and be able to actually like take the outward action, because it's really hard to take action from a place of feeling uncertain and unsure of ourselves. So, yeah, so that's why I kind of went into this niche, and I call myself a business therapist because that was the original term that my clients
Yeah,
came up with, and I love it.
I
Yeah.
feel like that's such an interesting background to bring to this space because I feel like there's such a almost like a negative connotation from the outside or from the therapy world that coaching
Mm,
is not effective or whatever. And
right.
I feel like making big investments in coaching has made me a different person. And at every
Absolutely.
stage of the game, it's been like the mindset piece that is the
Mm,
most crucial. And so when we're talking about something like beyond the strategy, it's like, how many women come to you and they're like, I've tried all these strategies, nothing is working for me. I feel like I'm just not living up to my potential. I still
yeah.
have this vision, this dream, but I can't make it happen. Like, how many times do you hear that?
I mean, like, I can't even tell you how
All the
many.
time. Your
All the
whole
time.
clientele, right?
All the time. I can almost guarantee, like, I do this, like, it's a mini mindset audit, and it's just for people who are, like, interested in, seeing if maybe there's a mindset issue there. And a lot of people come in and they're like, I don't think I have any mindset issues. Actually, I think I'm doing pretty good. And I'm like, all right, well, let's just see. And then, yep, lo and behold, there's always a mindset issue there. And the reason, and that's not a problem, because the real situation is that if you have a human brain, you're gonna have mindset issues, right? Like it's how we're built, right? So if you're a human being, you're gonna have some mindset stuff come up
Yeah.
inevitably. Yeah.
It starts so young too. If you think like if we just think back to even like grade school, like
Yeah.
how young are you when you stop trying new things because you don't want to look like you're
Oh,
not
yeah.
whatever. Like I'm even seeing that with my son who's
Yeah.
6, and it's
Oh
been
my
happening
gosh.
even since last year. He's just like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not good at that. And I'm like,
Mm.
buddy, like you're just a little guy.
Mm.
Go try the things,
Yeah.
do the things, you know? And he's just like, no,
Yeah.
he doesn't want to look a certain way to his big brothers or whatever, you know? And it's just like,
Yeah.
oh man, you can see it starting. So then
I
you have to deal with that.
know.
But how many of us have, like you said, those like stories in the background? One thing that I wanted to talk about in this particular
Yeah.
event is how so many women feel like there's something wrong with them
Yeah.
because they're not getting where they want or they're not getting the results. And I think on some level, all of us have gone through this. Like you said,
Yeah.
you kind of probably felt that stuff come up for yourself as you were building, and you were like,
Absolutely.
whoa, this is crazy. And
Yeah.
so how do we, I want to dig into a couple of things specifically that you had talked about, but one thing that you had said was like, you are the strategy. So what does that actually mean? Because I think a lot of people hear that, but they don't actually know how to translate that into something that's like an aha or like a big breath of like relief to be
Yeah.
like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
I'm not the problem. Like, I just need to
Right.
like walk through this.
Right. And so many people, I think they try all these different strategies, and a lot of times, like, nothing against business, traditional business coaching, but a lot of times they sort of give you the strategy that worked for them, or they give you sort of a cookie cutter strategy. And what happens is it's not the strategy that's doing the work. It's the person beneath the strategy that's doing the work. So, two people can implement the exact same strategy, and one is like crazy successful and the other one just flops because of you are your strategy. Because if you don't have that belief in yourself, if you don't have that confident energy that's like just coming out of you, if you don't talk about yourself and about your programs in a way that is very certain and very like just like, I hate to overuse the word confident, but it really is like the people who are confident, they're confident because they just, that energy just comes out of them. And what that creates in other people is a feeling of trust and safety. And
Yeah.
that's what people buy from. And if you have any part of you that's like, again, running sort of a story, like you're telling yourself a story underneath it all, like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough, maybe my offer's too expensive, maybe I really can't help this person in front of me. If there's even the smallest hint of that, the person sitting across from you can tell. Like, they can feel that doubt in you. And that's why they're saying no. And that's why they're saying yes to the person who is fully confident. And so this is why mindset, belief in yourself, belief in your programs. And people don't always know what mindset really is, but it's just really how you're thinking and feeling at any given moment. And if your thoughts are predominantly, I have the most amazing, program on the planet, and I know it's going to make a huge impact on my clients. If you believe that, people feel that. And if you have the tiniest bit of doubt, they're going to be like, oh, I don't know if she really believes it. And if you don't believe it, your potential client's not going to believe it either.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing that you told me that I loved was that you're not trying to be liked, you're trying to make a difference, and how that kind of sets
Mm,
people free almost. So
yeah.
walk me through somebody that's like running into imposter syndrome, for example. They're really scared of, I'm not good enough, or I'm not enough. I don't know, are my clients
Mhm.
going to get a good enough result? Or maybe I haven't done, XYZ. And so how could I be teaching it? And I
Yeah.
like to use the analogy that most NFL football coaches have never actually won a Super Bowl, and yet they're all getting paid millions of dollars to coach the team and bring out the best in the players to try to go in after that
Absolutely.
goal.
Yeah.
And I have to keep reminding myself of that too, because I think we come into this space and it's almost like a chicken and the egg thing where we feel like we have to like
Mhm.
either fake it till we make it, which makes us feel like crap. So we refuse to
Right.
do,
Right.
or we go and try to like skirt around the thing, which creates the doubt. But when you come straight down the middle and you stand in your truth and you stand in your power, this is, I think, your, like, from what we talked about before, it's like kind of your wheelhouse where you're just like, you're not trying to be liked, you're trying to make a difference. So let's dive into that
Absolutely.
part.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really just a shift in focus, because if you're focused on yourself, think about it. Like, every time you are falling into perfectionism, imposter syndrome, whatever it is, your focus is on you, right? You're thinking, I'm not good enough. Who am I to be, teaching this when I haven't even accomplished it, completely myself or whatever. Your focus is on you. And no one wants to buy from a coach who is focused on themselves. They want someone who they want to know what's in it for them. And so if you can shift your focus and just think, what can I do for my client? What does my client need right now? What does my potential client need to hear right now? And you just consistently take the focus off of you and shine that spotlight on the person that you're here to serve, the person that you're here to make a difference for. It changes everything. I think that is like such an aha moment because, yeah, I mean, we don't need to focus on ourselves. Like, it's not about us. We didn't get into this to focus on ourselves. We got into this to help someone else. And so if you can just take a deep breath and, make that shift in your mind,
Do you have
it
like a
takes
quick
the
little
pressure off.
exercise? Do you have like a quick little exercise that you give to people that's just like, here's how you actually go write this down so you can see it yourself and then you can go create from that place? Or like what do you have any
I
like
mean, not formally, no, but I mean, everything that I teach is shifting focus, right? Like whatever you're focusing on right now, how is it making it? So I always ask like what you're thinking, how is it making you feel, right? And if it's making you feel whatever, like you're feeling crappy, you're feeling like you're not good enough, you feel like whatever, you have to shift the thought in order to get the result that you want. So if you're thinking, oh, maybe I don't have what it takes to help this person, how does that thought make you feel? And if it makes you feel like, oh gosh, I don't feel like I'm good enough, I feel like maybe I am an imposter, maybe it makes you feel like you're not being authentic or something. Well, what can you say to yourself that'll have you feeling calm, confident, assured, certain in yourself? And then you gotta keep coming back to those thoughts that help you to feel that way, right? I know I've helped people, like for example, like I know I've helped people with this before, if you have.
yeah,
Or I know based on how I've transformed that I can help other people with this transformation, right? So
yeah,
whatever it is that's true for you, but you can't lie to yourself because your
no,
brain knows. You can't really fake it till you make it because your brain knows that you're lying. And again, that people can sense that. People can sense that you're being inauthentic. So just come up with a thought, even if it's like, it's possible that I can really, really help this person, right? Even if you're not like 100% sure you're going to get them to, $10 million years or whatever, like
yeah.
it's possible I
It's
can really help them, right? Just start with that. Start there and then you can work your way up to even more powerful thoughts.
just something just dropped in for me is when you're talking about that, I used to take so much responsibility for somebody's entire journey. And
Mm,
it felt so heavy because I was like, I
yeah.
can't guarantee that result. And there's so many pieces to this. And then as soon as I let go of that and I started telling myself, if I'm even a small part of the journey that lands this person at their 7-figure vision or
Yeah.
dream, then
Yeah.
I have done my job because honestly,
Absolutely.
there's never going to be one thing or one person that's ever going to give you all of the answers. I
Right.
truly believe that we pick up little pieces of the puzzle as we go, and that's just life, right? Like,
Yeah.
so stop
Absolutely.
putting so much pressure on yourself to be the entire thing for
Right.
somebody.
Well, and here's the other thing that I think that we get wrong as coaches. We think it's up to us to transform the other person.
Yeah,
That's no, again, where's our focus? Our focus is on us. No, we are there to help another person get to where they want to go. We're there to support them. We're there to, hold the space for them, maybe give some advice, maybe ask some really powerful, deep questions.
yeah,
But ultimately, their transformation is up to them. It really is. And I know that like, well, a lot of people are like, well, I don't get it. Why hire a coach then? Because that coach is going to challenge you. That coach is going to help you see the things that you can't see. But ultimately, the person being coached is the one that has to do the work. And those are the clients I see that are tough clients to work with, because sometimes, and you've probably experienced this, like I feel like I'm working harder than they are. And
Yeah.
those are the clients who aren't going to get that transformation. They're not going to be the most successful. The ones who are taking responsibility and they're like, "No, this coach is here to help me, but I'm going to do everything in my power to get to my result." Those people are insanely successful.
I agree. I lately I've been talking a lot about this in my own content and in my containers. It's like I I don't work with women who need their hand held. I
Right.
work with women
Right.
who want somebody to hold their heart as they go through this, because
Oh, yeah.
entrepreneurship is a lonely sport at
Oh,
times.
yeah.
It can feel so up and down like a roller coaster
Yeah.
emotionally. And I mean, sometimes it comes down to just reminding somebody what they say they really want and getting them back up on the track when they fall off. I mean, that's half
Absolutely.
of coaching, right? It's like,
Yeah.
wait, why are you now way over here doing all this stuff?
Yeah.
Don't get fancy. Get focused first, like we
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
nail this pathway first
Yeah.
so that you have the money to be able to then go out and expand and do all the scaling. And
Yeah.
that's something that maybe you've seen a lot with your clients too, but for sure this is something that I did. Mistakes I made was trying to go after scaling activities and strategies before I had built my six-figure base. And
Right.
I know how to do a ton of scaling activities, and I can't wait until I'm like on that, because I know how to hire the team for it, because I know how to do all the things in the background. But like really at the end of the day, when you're trying to hit your first six figures, which is the majority of the women who will be listening to this, it's so important. Yes, you have this massive vision, and yes, you want to do all these things, but also don't forget, like when you have, like you're building the foundation of your success first, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look like 90,000 people coming into your world in 3 months. And so
Right.
how do you kind of walk somebody through the mindset or the work that has to be done about that kind? You know what I mean? Like that you got a seven-figure vision, but first we need to get you to six figures with like a solid base.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one thing I heard, I think it was one of my mentors that said this, like the way that you create your business from the beginning is the way that it's going to, like that's the way it's going to run as it keeps going. You know what I mean? So you don't want to like you don't if you don't want to always be working like 45, 50 hours a week, don't start your business that way, right? Like create the business that you want to have, I think, from the get-go. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And yeah, I think it's just yeah, and you can't like it's great to have a vision. And here's what I'll say about that. Like you can operate in your business from your seven-figure identity if you want, but also you have to be kind to yourself along the way, because like you said, it's a roller coaster. And so if you're expecting results of yourself that are like not realistic, then what's going to happen is you're going to get disappointed. And this is one of the big things that I work with a lot of the clients that come to me. They have what I call a confidence fracture. Like they're going along and they're having success, and then something happens, because like you said, it's a roller coaster, and you have to know that coming in, because it's not gonna you've chosen you've chosen a path where you're not going to get a consistent paycheck every 2 weeks. It's going to be different. It's going to vary. It's going to change. You can always operate from that identity, but you have to, yeah, you have to like take it one step at a time, and you have to be kind to yourself along the way, because if you're not treating yourself well, you're going to burn out, right? You're going to feel like, "Oh my God, I'm not," if you're comparing yourself to the other coach that's at seven figures or whatever, it's again, you're just not being kind to yourself by doing that. You're creating a situation that's not really possible to meet by beating yourself up and being hard on yourself. Now, if you're operating from this identity, like what would a seven-figure business owner do if they're having a confidence fracture, if they're having a slow month, or they had a launch that didn't go as planned? What would that seven-figure person do? They would say, "It's okay. It's okay. Keep going. you've got next time, right? You always have next time. And let's look at this. Let's come from a place of, instead of beating yourself up and saying, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? What happened? Maybe you're just not cut out for this. Say to yourself, let's get curious. I love coming from the place of curiosity. Let's get curious. I wonder what didn't, why didn't that go as well as I was hoping, right? And then just ask those questions, but from a place of kindness, not a place of, beating yourself up or being mean to yourself, because it's just not going to get you where you want to go.
Like that old saying, you win or you learn, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And we're always learning. And as long as you're always learning, you're always growing. Yeah.
yes, I
And
love
you're
that.
always winning.
Okay, I want to cover one more thing because it was so powerful and it's niching. So
Mm,
like before the interview, it was like niching down is actually a mindset issue. And I want you to talk about this because I feel like we have so much pressure to like force ourselves into a box. And a lot of us feel
mm,
like we don't fit in
yeah.
a box. And, what we do can't really be explained that way, or it doesn't fit into like the typical niches. And so, what do you mean by niching down is a mindset issue? I love this.
Yeah, well, I think one of the problems, first of all, that people have when they're thinking about niching is they start to get in their head and they start to worry about leaving people out, right? They're like, oh, but I don't want to be that person who's exclusionary. I don't want to exclude certain people if I niche down to this specific area, right? I think there's all kinds of mindset issues that come up with niching, but I think that's one of the biggest ones is you don't want to leave people out. So if you can remind yourself that the people that need you and that you can serve will find you either way, because that's the truth. Even if you're super niche and someone isn't quite in that niche and they resonate with your energy and they resonate with who you are as a person and your personality and what you stand for, they're going to be like, hey, I know that I'm not in your exact niche, but do you think you could still help me? And you can absolutely do that, because guess what, you own your own business. You can make whatever decision you want to make, right? So yeah, so I think that's one of the biggest ones. What else did we talk about? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, and I think niching is, a lot of people confuse niching with like I don't know, it's not a demographic thing, right? A lot of people think, oh, I've got to get really clear on their demographics, like what TV show are they watching, how many kids do they have, how much does their house cost, or like all of this stuff. And really what's most important is the psychology. What are the psychographics? What is the specific, very concrete problem that they're having, and how can you help them to find the solution? And that's really all it is. And so in terms of niching, I think what you have to do is find sort of the thing that you get really excited to help people with. Because if you try to like niche, like you said, like fit into this box that's not really what you want to do,
What's
again,
wrong?
the energy is not going to be there, right? The what you're kind of portraying with yourself it's gonna not feel aligned. So I think it's really important to, in your own mindset, like, know, what do I love to do? Who do I love to help?
Yeah, I think so too. I think especially at the beginning, it feels like when you're generalizing and you think you're leaving money on the table because you can help anyone. Um, I think it shoots you in the foot, just like you said. And I think that I always say like there's like three lanes on a highway, like A, B, and C, and they're all going the same direction. And if you talk straight down the middle to B, A and C can merge into the lane, they can still hear you,
Absolutely. Yeah,
but nobody can hear you if you're talking to all three at the same time, right? And that's gets
absolutely.
us into a lot of trouble. There's all these like little pieces of business too that I feel like um become mindset issues, which we think are strategy issues, which we continue to chase strategy over and over and over. So how do you help your clients kind of like pick a strategy that works for them and stay the course?
It's kind of like what I was saying with the niching. You've just got to like pick the thing that feels true to you, aligned with you. I know this sounds kind of woo woo, but
Oh, I am
it's,
100%.
yeah, I mean, you have to do something. You have to pick a strategy that feels like you. It feels like something you can keep doing long term, and it feels like, yeah, it feels like something you can commit to every day, because your strategy is something that you're going to eventually probably get a little bored with, right? And that's how you know you're doing it right. If you're like, okay, I keep doing the same
Sometimes
thing
it's
every
a little more.
day. Yeah, because that's how people eventually end up finding us, is by hearing like the same message over and over and over again. So you kind of like, yeah, you kind of do have to pick that lane in terms of marketing, right? You got to pick like, okay, what am I focused on? It's really like, what's the problem that they're, the biggest problem they're struggling with, and what's the solution that I have that I can offer them. So um yeah, did I answer your question?
Yeah.
I feel like I went off on a tangent a little bit,
Oh,
but
I think it's basically like just the fact that all these little pieces that we think are strategy issues are underneath
yeah.
that are actually, mindset or energetic or old patterns or old stories running underneath. And it's like, I mean, there's a lot of common ones, but they show up differently for everybody. But
Yeah.
you need
Yeah.
somebody to like pinpoint them for you sometimes. Like even a little audit,
Yeah.
like you said, you do a little mini audit. It's like most people don't
Yeah.
even think they have a mindset issue. And then they're like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
wonder this
They're
isn't
like,
working.
oh, now it makes sense. Okay. Yeah. And the other thing with strategy, I'll say this is if you again try to choose something that just doesn't feel aligned with who you are, and it just feels icky, right? It just doesn't feel like, something that you want to be doing every day, like you're eventually gonna not only burn out from that strategy, you're gonna find that it doesn't work for you. Because again, it's kind of like what I said at the beginning, like two people can have the exact same strategy, but if your energy isn't there, if you like, for example, like if somebody is like terrified to get on video, right? And that's a mindset issue in itself. And if you're terrified to get on video, you should, address that. But
Yeah.
if that's your strategy, and every time you show up on video, you you hate the way you sound, you hate the way you look, you're embarrassed of yourself, and you throw the video away and then start over again the next day, you're never going to get any visibility. You're never going to get seen. So you can't implement a strategy that's not going to work for you. I mean, definitely if you want to do that, then work towards that. Like I have a client, for example, who she has created, like she's almost completely booked out without using social media at all, because she knows that the strategy that she's best at is connecting with people in person. She loves connecting with people in person. She loves talking to people in person and asking them questions and getting to know them, and building a relationship. And she doesn't love it quite as much on social media, but she's almost completely booked out doing what she knows she loves and what she's good at. And I personally, I had a business coach who said, gosh, what was it? It was like, you have to follow like 70 people per day and DM like, 50 of them or something, like cold DMs. And I was like, first of all, like none of this is even realistic in my schedule. Like I have clients to see, you know what I mean? Secondly, I don't want to cold DM people. It's just not who I am. I don't like that. And so and she said, like, if you want to make this much money, that's what you have to do. Maybe that worked for her, and maybe she made a whole bunch of money doing that, but it didn't work for me. And so I had to find something else. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there's actually, I've interviewed in my last event a couple of girls who are still very much doing the daily method of operation where they go and they friend request and they message a certain amount of
Yeah.
people. And that's just not for me. I mean, but I think it also has to do with like a little bit of PTSD for me because I came from corporate
Oh.
insurance sales and I used to cold call out of the yellow pages, like machine
Mm,
shops, oil field companies, construction guys,
mm,
like all those people. And there's like there's no part of me that wants to go out and do that force that for me that
Right.
still feels so forced. I still
Yeah.
like get anxiety when I drive by
Yeah.
industrial parks and stuff because I used to have to like walk in there and hand out my business card and just try to get my foot in the door. But now I run a completely different strategy where people
Yeah.
come in that are interested in the topic, and then it's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's an opening. Hey, you came to my event, like, just
Yes.
wanted to reach out, hope you enjoy it, whatever, like touch points. But that's not the same as sending random strangers cold
Right.
DMs on the internet. And so I do agree with you. I totally think that you have to find something that feels good
Yeah.
in your heart when you're doing it. I mean, not that every day is going to feel amazing because some days are just, you don't, I mean, some days it's work, but
Yeah.
the majority of the time, if you're enjoying the way that you're going out into the world to get visible or generate leads or sell, I
Yeah.
mean, then you're winning, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think just pay attention to those feelings. Like if it's causing you anxiety, like don't keep pushing. Like notice that you're feeling anxious about it and respect that. And either, like I said with the videos, if you really want to do videos but you're having a lot of anxiety, well go address that. Like figure out how can you start to feel better about it, and then that strategy will work for you. But if you're forcing something that just feels like anxiety provoking or icky or whatever, like it's not going to work if you're pushing, feel pick something that feels good or work towards it feeling better, so that it'll work for you. Yeah.
Video is such an interesting one in an online business because the majority of us are on video a lot.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think there was any of us who ever didn't start by being like sweaty and clammy and like
Oh
stuttering
yeah.
on your words and heart racing and freaking out. And now years later, you're just like, oh, like
Yeah.
I'm so comfortable online now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I can go live and talk
Absolutely.
about anything with
Yeah.
anybody. It's like,
Yeah.
but
Absolutely.
it's a muscle that you build. Like you don't just, I think some people think that the confidence or the camera, like we could have a little camera side, um, like a little side training for anybody who's worried about being on camera. Like just message
Yeah.
Jennifer.
Yeah.
She'll probably dig into it with you. But like I think, like you said, if it's something that you actually want to learn how to do and you want that to be part of your strategy, then learn, like build the muscle.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you're like, I never want to be on camera, I hate it. I only want to be, a blogger or emailing or whatever, then pick that as your lane, like
Yeah.
stick to it because it will compound, right? It does grow.
I agree. I agree
Yeah.
completely.
Okay, can you please tell us a little bit about your freebie before we wrap up?
Oh my gosh, which one am I doing? I
Oh
have
my
a
gosh,
few.
I have to pull it up. Okay, so the mini mindset audit is like the perfect thing. So let's just do that. Tell
Yeah. Oh my
us a
gosh.
little bit about that
It's
and like what
it
somebody can expect from it.
it's so much fun. It's literally just this mini mindset audit. We will get on a call for 30 minutes, and basically I'm going to be able to identify the thing that maybe you're not seeing that's underneath the surface. So it's really gonna help you to identify like that one mindset block that might be getting in the way, and then I'll give you some tips and like some, basically plans to overcome that and move forward in your business. But people, yeah, it's funny because people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that was a thing, right? And so it really is very revealing, and it gives you a lot of clarity as far as what could be happening underneath that's running the show and maybe sabotaging some of those strategies that you're trying to make work and they're just somehow not working the way you know they could be. So this will get to the bottom of it.
That's the perfect gift for anybody who's looking beyond the strategy. Because if you have a feeling like you might be the missing link, or you might be
Yeah.
the bottleneck, or you might be, this is like the perfect thing for you to go do so that Jennifer can pinpoint it for you. And then I find that anytime I have somebody that comes in and pinpoints something like that for me, it just like it's like such a relief because now you know that you can move through this. But
Yeah.
sometimes you're too close to it and you can't see it for yourself. And that's why
Yeah.
I love this kind of thing.
Yeah, awesome. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm Yeah, I'm really hopeful everyone's gonna love it because just what you said, you can't see the prescription from inside the bottle, is what I like to
Ah,
say.
yeah, I love that. Okay, so just in wrapping up, what would your best advice be to somebody right now who's just like, oh my gosh, like I've learned all the strategies, I've tried all the things. How do I actually make it through, like bust through whatever mindset blocks I need to bust through and actually go build the business of my dreams now?
Honestly, I I think the best thing that you can do is really get quiet for a moment and ask yourself like what am I thinking right now? What's running through my head? What stories am I telling myself? Because a lot of times if we can, if you can just get out a journal, piece of paper, just say like what ask yourself like what am I saying to myself right now? What stories am I telling myself? And then question them, right? So awareness is key. You can't fix anything until you know it's there. So if you're not going to do a mini mindset audit, just sit down and allow yourself to, just get in touch with what's really going on inside of you and just start to like, just free write, and really start to notice like what are the predominant thoughts that you're thinking because we have like 60,000 thoughts a day, and the majority of them are repetitive and the majority of them are negative. So take a look at like what is going through your head and ask yourself, like, how might that be affecting your business and your ability to make that strategy that you really want to work? Like, how is it maybe impacting that so that you can finally start getting that fully booked schedule?
Love that. Okay, thank you so much, Jennifer, for being here. I think that was super helpful. Anybody who feels like, oh my gosh, I need to grab one of these, I think Jennifer would be amazing to pinpoint this. I'll drop the link below the video and you can go and grab it and book in and get a little mini mindset audit done. So thanks so much again for being
Okay.
here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.